Chair now recognizes Mr. Biggs from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I get a kick out of you sanctuary state, county, city leaders who talk about having to deal with the border crisis. Cracks me up, actually. But at least, Governor Pritzker, you did call it a crisis in your statement. I appreciate that. Ultimately, as you said in your statement, you received 50,000 illegal aliens into Cook County. And Governor Hochul stated that New York received about 220,000 illegal aliens. That's fantastic that you know those numbers roughly. Now I want you to imagine you're a southern Arizona community of about 80,000 people, sitting right on the border. And over the course of the Biden administration, a couple of million people came through your little town. And I quote you, Governor Pritzker, Illinois didn't ask for this crisis, and I'm going to tell you, neither did Yuma, Arizona. Its lone hospital, only hospital, couldn't handle the influx, nor could its single food bank, its law enforcement, its schools, and other services and infrastructure. That was a failure, you're correct, on the part of the federal government under Joe Biden. That's all stopped now. That's all stopped now. Because it didn't take a new law, it took enforcement of the current law. But you know what drew a lot of those people? Because you might have been down there once. I've been down there dozens of times. I've taken more people from Congress down there than anybody else here. And you know what those people told me? They're coming here because they wanted to get to places, and they would name Chicago, and they would name New York to me. And I'd say, why the heck are you crossing here and not crossing at Del Rio? Because you guys offered sanctuary policies. They believed that they would be protected in your jurisdictions. And now that these millions of illegal aliens are here, permitted to get here by the Democrats and the Biden administration, your jurisdictions actually hinder the enforcement of immigration laws because of the sanctuary policies you've adopted. And then you have the temerity to complain about the influx of illegal aliens that strain your social services. Well, you did that. That's not even an unintended consequence. That's what it is.
Welcome back to America First, the channel that puts our nation's interests above all else. I'm your host, and if you believe in securing our borders and enforcing our laws, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that the mainstream media won't show you. Ring that notification bell, because we're not backing down from the truth. Today, we're breaking down explosive footage from a recent congressional hearing where Representative Andy Biggs from Arizona absolutely demolished sanctuary state governors who have been complaining about their self-created immigration crisis. This is the kind of accountability we need to see more of in Washington.
So I'll ask you, Governor Walz, do you agree with Minnesota your Attorney General's opinion stating that it's not lawful for Minnesota counties to hold people for immigration authorities, even if there is an immigration warrant? Do you agree with his statement? That's his statement. It's not yours. I just want to know if you agree with him.
Yeah. Well, I know you know this, Congressman, that all 87 Minnesota counties follow federal law.
I don't know that. I just want to know. I don't know that. Why would I know that? I'm just going by your Attorney General.
I haven't got the chance to explain it.
He says not to do it. Do you agree with the Attorney General? That's all I'm asking.
The Attorney General is elected independently in Minnesota. Nothing in his opinion allows it in Minnesota.
So are you telling me you disagree with him?
Could I have 20 seconds just to say?
I just want you to answer the question. You're not answering the question.
I served here, Congressman, and there's the respect to the witnesses to just be able to speak.
Yeah, there is, and there should be respect, and that respect from the witness should be to answer the question.
Our counties and jurisdictions can do whatever they deem necessary. They have to.
Do you agree with your Attorney General? Apparently, we don't know, because you're not going to answer. You're going to be oblique about it. So
that's unfair characterization. I'm trying to answer. I'm not the Attorney General of Minnesota.
Do you agree with his memo? And you're killing time because you're filibustering. Do you agree with his memo? That's all I'm asking.
Nothing.
And you don't want to even answer it. You just say, oh, you know, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. Let's go to you, Governor Pritzker. A lawsuit was filed against you in the state of Illinois, and you responded. Your response to the claim is that Illinois has a, quote, constitutionally protected choice not to assist federal authorities with deportation, close quote. Give me the constitutional reference you're making there. What are you referring to?
Congressman, I don't know the lawsuit that you're referring to, and I don't know that I was the respondent in that lawsuit. I can say that
This is from the response filed on your behalf. So you didn't read the response? Well, let me then ask you, if that is the response officially of you, how is that consistent with Arizona versus U.S.? It's not. How is it consistent with 8 U.S.C. 287 D3? It's not. Let's just cover it in the last 18 seconds. When you guys say we do give these people the information only on a criminal warrant. Is there any distinction in 8 U.S.C. 1373A, 1324, 1324C that says, yeah, you don't have to give information, you don't have to provide the body, you don't have to respond to the ICE detainer? Is there anything in there that says there's a distinction between the criminal law, the criminal warrant, the criminal detainer, and a civil warrant, civil detainer? Is there anything in there? The answer is no. I'll answer for you. You do violate the law. You are sanctuary cities. And every one of you sitting there, if you don't know that by now, you should know it walking out of here, that you are actually committing a federal crime every time someone does that, because you don't have the authority under federal law or under the Constitution to negate even a civil warrant for someone who's violated a federal offense when you get a detainer notice. Yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Frost from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let me set the stage for you. We have governors from Illinois, Minnesota, and New York sitting before Congress cry about being overwhelmed by illegal immigration. Governor Pritzker from Illinois admits they received 50,000 illegal aliens in Cook County alone. New York has taken in about 220,000, and they're acting like victims. But here's where Representative Biggs delivers the knockout punch. He reminds these governors that communities like Yuma, Arizona, with only 80,000 residents, have had to process millions of illegal border crossers during the Biden administration. Let that sink in. A small border town handled more than these massive sanctuary cities, and they did it without the resources or infrastructure these wealthy blue states have. The hypocrisy is staggering. These sanctuary jurisdictions rolled out the red carpet for illegal immigration with their virtue signaling policies, and now they're shocked when people actually show up. Biggs points out something crucial that the media ignores. The migrants he's personally interviewed at the border specifically named Chicago and New York as their destinations because of sanctuary policies. These governors created a magnet effect that drew people to cross illegally. This is exactly what we've been saying for years. Actions have consequences. You cannot advertise that you'll protect people from federal immigration enforcement and then act surprised when they come. It's basic cause and effect. But apparently that's too complicated for these progressive politicians to understand. What really gets me fired up is watching Governor Tim Walz from Minnesota completely dodge simple questions. Biggs asks him repeatedly whether he agrees with his own state attorney general's opinion that counties shouldn't cooperate with immigration authorities. It's a yes or no question, but Walz dances around it like a politician at a campaign rally. This is a kind of evasive non-answer that drives hardworking Americans crazy. We deserve straight talk from our elected officials. The legal aspect here is crystal clear, and Biggs nails it. These sanctuary policies violate federal law. The Constitution gives the federal government authority over immigration, not states and cities. When local jurisdictions refuse to honor immigration detainers, they're not just being uncooperative, they're breaking the law. Arizona versus U.S. established this precedent, and federal statute 8 U.S.C. 287 makes it explicit. Here's what these governors don't want to admit. Every time they release someone with an immigration detainer instead of turning them over to federal authorities, they're potentially putting that person back on the streets to commit more crimes or simply disappear into the interior of our country. It's not compassionate, it's reckless. Representative Biggs makes another crucial point that deserves emphasis. The border crisis didn't require new legislation to fix. It required enforcement of existing laws. Under the previous administration, we saw what happens when you actually enforce immigration law. Numbers dropped dramatically, but the Biden administration chose to essentially open the borders, and now we're dealing with the consequences. The human cost of these policies extends far beyond statistics. Small border communities have been absolutely devastated. Biggs mentions Yuma's single hospital being overwhelmed. Their one food bank stretched to the breaking point, law enforcement struggling to cope, and schools bursting at the seams. These are real impacts on real Americans who never asked for this crisis. Meanwhile, sanctuary city mayors and governors have the resources to handle the situation they created, but instead of taking responsibility, they demand federal bailouts. They want taxpayers across the country to subsidize their virtue signaling. That's not how federalism works, and it's certainly not fair to communities that have been following the law all along. The constitutional argument these sanctuary jurisdictions make is completely bogus. Governor Pritzker's legal team apparently claimed Illinois has a constitutionally protected choice not to assist with deportations. That's legal nonsense. The Supremacy Clause makes federal law supreme, and immigration is explicitly a federal responsibility. States don't get to pick and choose which federal laws they'll follow. What we're seeing here is selective federalism at its worst. These same governors who claim states' rights when it comes to ignoring immigration law are perfectly happy to demand federal intervention and funding when it suits them. They want it both ways, and Representative Biggs called them out on it. The enforcement mechanism is already in place. When ICE issues a detainer, local jurisdictions are supposed to hold that individual until federal authorities can take custody. It's straightforward cooperation between different levels of law enforcement. But sanctuary policies deliberately obstruct this process, allowing dangerous individuals to be released back into communities. This hearing represents exactly the kind of oversight Congress should be conducting. Instead of just sending more money to failed policies, we need accountability. We need elected officials who will enforce the law and protect American citizens first. Representative Biggs demonstrated how it's done by asking tough questions and demanding straight answers. The broader lesson here is about the rule of law. We either have immigration laws that mean something or we don't. We either have a sovereign nation with secure borders or we don't. There's no middle ground. These sanctuary policies represent a fundamental rejection of national sovereignty and the rule of law. Every American should watch this exchange and ask themselves a simple question. Do you want elected officials who will enforce the law and protect your community? Or do you want politicians who prioritize illegal immigrants over American citizens? The choice is clear, and Representative Biggs showed us what real leadership looks like. This is why we need more representatives like Andy Biggs who aren't afraid to confront failed policies and demand accountability. The American people deserve better than evasive politicians who created this mess and now want someone else to clean it up. If you found this breakdown informative, make sure to like this video and share it with anyone who needs to understand what's really happening with our immigration system. Subscribe to America First for more content that puts American interests first. And let me know in the comments what you think about these sanctuary policies. Are you tired of politicians who won't enforce the law? Until next time, keep fighting for America.